Are you looking for an energy-efficient fan that can still move some air? Welcome to the Hippie Geeks. Let's take a look at the 6-inch oscillating fan from Spider Farmer and see what it looks like and how well it works. As always, the packaging from Spider Farmer is excellent and should protect the fan no matter how hard the shipping companies try to beat it up. The first thing you see once opening the box is the instruction manual, which there isn't much of, as these are pretty easy to put together. There are two parts to the fan: the clip that you use to attach the fan to the tent poles, and the fan itself. There is also a little bag of extras, including two little nuts that you are going to want to keep track of, and we will talk more about why later. So, when you go to assemble the fan, you need to remove the knob from the clip first. Be sure to keep your finger on the nut that the knob portion threads into, as it is not secured at all into the clip itself, and it can really easily get dropped onto the floor, never to be seen again. That is why they include the two extra nuts that I mentioned earlier, so if you do end up losing it, make sure to just grab one of the spares and you should be good to go. Once you have the knob removed, just slide the fan onto the clip and line up the holes in the two pieces, and then reinsert the knob to put them back together. Make sure that you have the fan at the angle you want before you tighten it all the way down, as once it is tightened, that will lock the angle into place until you loosen it again. At the moment, I do not have a tent set up, so I just flipped the clip over and attached it to the pallet to show you how the oscillation function works. This fan has 8 speeds that you can click through using the left button on the back of the unit, and if you hold that button, it will shut the fan off completely. The button on the right is strictly for turning the oscillating function on and off, and one thing to remember is that the buttons will go to sleep after about 5 seconds so that you do not accidentally bump them and change a setting. So you may need to hit the buttons once to let it know that you really want to make the change, and then hit it again to either change the fan speed or turn the oscillation on or off. The fan has 7 possible speeds, but changing the fan speed will not affect the oscillation speed, as that is fixed. We did some testing with the fan at its differing speeds, and the first thing we checked was its power consumption. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that it was energy efficient, and when it is cranked all the way up with the oscillating motor on, it will draw a maximum of 10 watts of power from the wall, which is pretty great for how much air it moves. One thing to note is that by turning on the oscillation function on the fan, it will consume an extra 2 watts of power no matter what level you are on. At level 1 and 2, the fan only pulls 3 watts from the wall. At level 3 and 4, it pulls 4 watts, and at level 5, it will pull 5 watts. Level 6 will use 7 watts of power, and finally turning it all the way up will draw 8 watts of power. The meter I am using doesn't show partial watts, which is why we are seeing some of the same power results at different levels, because each level definitely moves a different amount of air. Speaking of that, I used an anemometer to check the airflow as measured 3 inches from the front of the fan at each of the settings, both in feet per minute and meters per second. These measurements are only intended to show how much more airflow each level is than the one before it, and also to allow me to compare other fans that we look at in the future. This is not the last fan that we will be taking a look at, and it will be good to be able to actually compare them with a measurable number. With all of that said, you have already been looking at the numbers on screen, but let's run through them really quick. At level 1, the fan is putting out 492 feet per minute, or 2.5 meters per second, and when we get to level 2, it shows 551 feet per minute, or 2.9 meters per second. Next up is level 3 with 610 feet per minute, or 3.1 meters per second, and then at level 4 we are seeing 669 feet per minute, or 3.4 meters per second. After that is level 5 with 728 feet per minute, or 3.7 meters per second, followed up by 667 feet per minute, or 4.0 meters per second at level 6. Finishing up with level 7, we have a high of 827 feet per minute, or 4.4 meters per second, which shows a pretty incredible range from beginning to end. For only pulling 10 watts from the wall, I am pretty thrilled with just how much air this thing is moving around at max speed, and it is low enough at level 1 that it is not going to topple over seedlings. Looking at the Spider Farmer website right now, the fan is going for $39.99, and that seems like a very solid price for what you are getting. I haven't even mentioned one of the best parts yet, and that is how easy it is to remove the front of the fan so you can easily clean the blades, which has actually been a real pain in some of the other fans that I have checked out in the past. A big thank you to Spider Farmer for sending over this 6-inch oscillating fan. And if you want to check it out or any of their other gear for yourself, make sure to click on the links to their website in the video description down below and use the discount code GEEKS at checkout to get 8% off your entire order.